Hi, this is Helen. Welcome to my channel. I promised to get back with you with some more ideas about how to use the scraps that I was cutting up. Here's one. These are 2.5 inch squares. This is called a 16 patch because there are 4 rows of 4. Because these equal 8, 2, 4, 6, 8, when they're finished, these 2 squares have been cut 4.5 inches each, or all 4 of these have been cut 4.5 inches each. These squares have been cut 2.5 inches. This would be your what we call a kiss block of the Hug and Kisses quilt. You would make this block by taking, just need one here, a square. In this case it'd be a 4.5 inch square and a 2.5 inch square. This one's a little bigger. Put a square on the corner, draw a line from corner to corner, sew on that line, then flip it back and iron it. Same thing on this corner. Sew on this line. You can draw it with a pencil if you need to draw your line. Flip it back. Then you have this block right here, or you just make 4 of them. And I don't have a quilt made up like this, but I do have a picture of what one would look like. So this is what it will look like if you just make these 2 blocks only and alternate them. It makes a beautiful pattern. Next one I want to show you is a bow tie quilt. You see the bow tie here. So you cut 6.5 inch squares again. So these can be different. This is just what I have cut. 6.5 inch squares, 3.5 inch square. I'm sorry, these are 6 inch squares. These are 3 inch squares. Same thing. Your 6 inch square, your 3 inch square. Sew down the middle, iron it back. These are your plain squares. One of these will go here, and one will go here. And then you have your bow tie quilt. I have one that, excuse me, I have one that my mother-in-law made for my husband of 30 to 40 years ago. It's hand stitched and hand quilted. They made theirs a little different. They would take cardboard and make templates that shaped like this, a square with a corner cut off. They would make 4 of those. Then they would make a rectangle to go in the middle, and they would hand stitch these together for each block. I'm pretty sure these are hand stitched together. They may have been machine stitched. They may have machine stitched the blocks together, but I'm pretty sure they hand stitched these together, and then it definitely has been hand quilted. My mother-in-law was a phenomenal hand quilter. But today, we make them like this because we want to do it by machine and do it quicker. A lot easier. See, we're not insetting this rectangle here. By just putting these corners on, you get the same thing. See if we can, it's hard to look at that big one, but face it this way. It's the same thing. They look just alike. Just easier to make. You can see a few more of the squares. Very pretty. All scraps. The next one I'm going to show you is Hugs and Kisses. Okay, these made the same way. Take these squares, same thing, 6-inch square, 3-inch block, sewn on. This block sewn on this corner, sewn on, iron back. Quilters differ on this. Some cut out these two pieces and leave a 1/4 inch seam. That's the way I prefer to do it. You can see on these that that's what I did. There's no blue here. Some quilters prefer to leave it in. It makes it a little thick on the corners because you have 3 layers of fabric. But this would be considered the hug. And then if you turn them around, this would be the kiss. When we used to send cards and love letters to each other in the mail, you would sign your name, and at the end you would put OXOX, Hugs and Kisses. And I have a quilt top that hasn't been quilted. It's made like this. So here you have the X. Well, you can't see that one. Okay, here you have the X. I'm still not doing this right here. Here we go. Here you have the X. And then you would have the O. These are actually all X's, but depending on how you look at them, you get the X or the O. And in this case, I used the same fabric on the flippy corners, on the whole quilt. These are some fabrics, I believe most of them are called Civil War prints. And I bought those at a destashing of a quilter that could no longer quilt. And so they were getting rid of her stash. And so they're very precious to me. Okay, and I was in a B, and we did an exchange. And when I told you I had 2-inch strips left over, that's what that was from. That's what these are from, and all those were from. You sewed 2 2-inch strips together. Oops. There were about 12 of us in the group, so you would take 12 blocks and come home with 12 different blocks. You can make your strips long like this, and width of fabric if you want to, 44 inches, and come up and make 12 of the very same blocks. Or you could take different ones. They didn't care. But I usually just took 12 of the same, and then everyone got one of mine, and then I got one of theirs. So you did that, and then you cut these up, and these are 1.5, 1.5 plus seam allowance, so it's 3.5. You did this, and then you ended up with 3.5-inch blocks when you cut them. Okay, and this would be considered a square, a block, excuse me. This is what we would take. I would take 12 of these with me. It's very important that you place the horizontal and the vertical pieces in the right order, in the right place. We had a little diagram so that we all would do the same thing. It doesn't seem like you can mess it up, but you can. This is the correct orientation. That way you can put any block beside it and see their opposites. These are together, so I don't like that, so I turn it. Don't like it because these are still too much together. Still right though. No matter how I turn it, the block is right. But if you flip these, which we had to give some back to people and say, you need to take these apart. If you do them wrong, then see you get two alike. And no matter how I turn it, I'm still going to get two alike. So that isn't what we wanted. We wanted all the blocks to fit together and be alternating. So it's important if you do it or if you do it in a group that you make sure that everyone does it the same. That way all your blocks will be okay. No matter what you put together, it's all going to fit and be okay. And I have my quilt top. I need to make a back and get it off to my long arm quilter. It's 60 by 72. And I think it's beautiful. It's made all these different fabrics because we did the exchange and all these different, everybody had different fabrics and used their scraps. You have a great variety and I just love it. Another piece of it. You see it's so different. The only thing we said was in each of our blocks we had to have a maroon or burgundy colored piece. That was the only rule, is that you had to have at least one burgundy piece in your block. Here's another side. You see there's a great variety, just all kinds of novelty prints, but they all go together and look really great. Love a good scrappy quilt. Okay, and you don't, if you're a beginner quilter or even if you're an older quilter like me, you don't have to be fancy. You can just use blocks. Plain old 4-inch blocks, 6-inch blocks, whatever you want to use. This is just blocks. Squares. And I just set them going diagonal along the quilt. That was the easiest way to do it. You see the yellow here? Just going, everything, the helicopters, the red. That was the easy way. Or you could just take a lot of scraps and cut blocks out, your squares, and just put them however you want them. Just mix them up. They don't have to be in order. I tend to put things in order. This is a Monopoly quilt I made. And you see I'm putting everything in order. So I don't have to mix them up. This has been quilted, it just needs to have, and the binding has been sewn on. Here's my binding. I just need to fold it back and hand sew it. See if I can show you. It's going to be stripy, I like it. It's going to be a striped border. So this is your quilt. And if the quilt police come by, you just tell them to move on along, that they're not welcome. Here's another way to use your 6-inch blocks and your 2.5-inch squares, strips. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing here. Here we go. So here's a 6-inch square, And these put a 2.5-inch strip on either side, and then put 2.5 strips on either side. Finished it off. This is just a piece of a top. It goes with some other things that don't look like this. It's going to be different. You see some of them. Beautiful fabric. I love this fabric. But if you want to make it more modern, like for my kids and grandkids, you can make it like this. It's your quilt. You can do anything you want to. So we have one of the evil princesses, Disney princess, and then you have skulls. Skulls are really big with the kids and grandkids. So I hope that I have given you some ideas if you're a new quilter, that it doesn't have to be hard and make you want to pull your hair out to be a quilter. You can just use squares and strips, and and still have pretty quilts. And if you're an older quilter like I am, maybe I jarred your memory of some quilts that maybe you used to make, or maybe some easy quilts you want to make. These will be used, a lot of mine are used for community quilts or charity quilts. They're made into laptop quilts for nursing homes, or Linus Quilts for the children's hospitals. Texas Children's Hospital is one of the big ones in our area. So I hope I have given you some ideas, and I will talk with you later. Bye-bye.